What's up? I'm gonna clean out my sharpening, my Waterstone tub and flatten some of my Waterstones. And figured my wife just got me this new tripod, so I figured I'd try it out, shoot a video, and see how it goes. So, Waterstone tub is kind of all clogged up with gunk. I'm going to get you, I'm going to change the view so you're looking down here for when we do some flattening. Get you more set up here, hold on. Kind of familiarizing myself with this tripod. That's a pretty good view right there. So rather than have you sit through the entire cleaning out my Waterstone process, let's just flatten one really quick and we'll call it a video. So yeah, I keep my stones in a tub and they sit in here all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're immersed in water. They do not spontaneously combust, so you can leave clay-based Waterstones in water full time. Obviously natural stones like this one, it doesn't make any difference at all. But I always see that, oh, you can't leave them in water, it's no good, they'll fall apart. No, they won't. These have been in this water for years. I'll clean that out after. I'm going to flatten a couple. I just want to check your view good. So this, let's see, which one do I want to do? I have been using these three quite a bit. I'll even do some flattening on the natural stone, but probably use this one the most. This is 800 on one side and 4,000 on the other, but this 4,000 cuts more like 6, and I do use that a lot. Now, as far as what you're going to flatten them with, I use the 300 side of this Trend diamond plate. I used to use this old granite block with some 80 grit glued to it. And what I would say is if you choose to go this route, that's fine. You can use a countertop offcut, or like I had some of this real thick granite. If you do use this, what I would do before you start flattening your Waterstones on it is I would go over the top of this, grab some of your old planes or chisels or something that need the backs flattened, or plane irons that need to be flattened. Flatten them first before you use a straight 80 grit on one of these. It's a little bit rough. It certainly, if you have one that's really dished out and it's going to come way back, it'll do that pretty quick. But if you're going to put a good stone on it and just refresh it, I would make sure that 80 grit's pretty wiped off first. Sorry, just checking your view. So let me just clean the stone off really quick. And also, one thing that I do in my water bath here is, I'll show you in a second, just basically just cleaning the algae off my stones. If I could do this under running water, what happens in your tub, in my tub here, algae builds up. Normally I put some bleach in that water to keep that algae from building up. It doesn't seem to adversely affect the stones or anything. So we're gonna just kind of give this one a flattening. I kind of keep an eye on stones so they don't usually get too far out. If I could do this underwater the whole time, I would. Let's do this. Let me grab a towel here real quick. Hold on. Actually, this one was just about to go into the wash from my sharpening bench, and I can probably run this on there real quick. So what you want to do is, obviously, you're either going to move your stone across the top of your water stone, or you're going to move your water stone across the top of your diamond stone. I think the diamond stone tends to like to stay in place a little better, so normally when I'm on my bench, I'll just grab the stone and hone it off like that. It does load up fairly quickly, so it's nice to be around water so you can kind of just rinse it off. Water's not going to hurt your diamond stone either. And once we get it kind of dusted off, you can check your progress, obviously, by putting some marks right on the stone. That's sticking pretty good. If it takes the marks right off instantly like that, you can tell this stone's pretty flat. It left actually none of the marks. And the stone rings this diamond plate, even with the water grooves. So this stone's really, really flat to begin with. See if I can find one that's not so flat. And I almost never use this 800 side, but let's try it. If you want to put more, then obviously you can keep cleaning it out, but I don't mind. I'm not going to contaminate the 800 side with 4,000 grit dust. Just pull it off. Okay, so this one's a little low in the middle, so this one actually needs some work. I'm going to assume that the last time that I flattened this, I didn't go far enough, because I never used this 800 side of the stone. I always just use the diamond plate if I have to do that. And that was actually far enough. A good way to check some of the other stones is to, see if you can see this, is to ring a stone together. And if they will pick them up like that, then they're fairly close to flat as it is. Let's try another one here. I know the one under that I'm holding is flat, and this other one's pretty flat too, because they're ringing together. That's what that's called when they stick. If you have to do a lot of flattening, I'd suggest to do it underwater, like in here. I don't know, let me just check your view really quick. Yeah, so you can see into the sink. And what I mean by that is that I would put this down. If it's going to go a long way, I would run water on it the whole time. It's going to make the process go a little faster and keep your diamond plate clean. We're going to check this one. This one's 6,000. Let's just check this one really quick, see where it is. I do a fair bit of finishing on this. You can use rubber mats too. I use rubber mats in the shop itself. Obviously that's ringing to this 300 even with the grooves on it. Yeah, this one's pretty flat too. Took them right off. So none of these are very far out. And obviously this would, you can see how it glides on the water film and it does ring together with the other one. So that one's pretty flat too. Let's check this one real quick. This is also a 6,000, but I would say that this one cuts a little bit more like a 4000. Just check it and see. I can tell by the feel that it's not flat. It does ring together, but it feels like it's not flat. Yeah, I can see. So I can see some of my pencil mark out here on both sides. So it looks like this is dished a little. I mean, is got a bulge in the middle a little bit. So I'm going to pay attention to this one for a second because I do use this a fair amount. This is just a king. But I like the base. It's easy to, you know, throw up, sharpen, put it away. Starting to get pretty hard here. This would be a good candidate to do in the sink while the water's running. This is stuck together so hard I can't get them apart right now. It does look like that got rid of all the pencil marks. You see some of these stones are faded from just from the light with them sitting on top of each other. Yes, these are both really super flat. And the process is no different on the sandpaper. If you do use the sandpaper plate, not everybody has a trend diamond plate. But I actually just got DMT and I'm going to do a review on that in a few. If you do it on this, do it dry. Just to see that? Yeah. If you do it on the 80 grit, do it dry and then have a brush to brush it off or vacuum it. If you have real embedded stuff, you can run an eraser across it and then just vacuum it or brush it off. Using water on this paper, the paper won't last very long if you do that. Let's do a natural stone. This is a 30,000 grit stone. I would say it cuts more. Natural stones don't cut the same as clay-based water stones do. They just don't. But I would say that the finish that I get on this is probably equivalent to around a 6,000 stone. The great part about this is it's super hard and it doesn't really go out of flat and it doesn't need any maintenance. But when you do, every now and then, what will happen is the natural stones, unlike the clay stones, will get finer and finer and finer as you use them. And every now and then, to kind of freshen up the surface, you should rough them up. And by doing this over and over again, what it'll do is it'll take a natural stone that's not very flat and it will make it flat. You do this as constant maintenance on it. I don't know how flat this is. Let's check it out. This is not anywhere near as flat as a clay-based stone. It would take hours to get this that flat. It's much, much tougher surface. And this does have two sides. Obviously the bottom is pretty flat. This is the bottom. It has a different kind of stone running through the middle of it. That's how I tell the two apart. I don't know if you can see that well, but there's a different kind of hardness stone in here. I just keep this as the bottom. I have flattened kind of both sides, but let's see if, I don't know if I'm able to see those marks on this color stone, but let's see how flat, oh yeah, you can see it in the light, right? See how flat this is. Awesome. It's there's not a piece of pencil left on there. So this is actually really flat. For a good hard stone, that's great because it's really nice to be able just to grab it and throw a finish on an iron and go back to work without having to worry about flattening a clay-based stone. I'm not holding that. I just don't want to drop that again on the diamond plate. That's great. So these are all flat. They go back in the water, so I'm going to go ahead and clean out my bucket here. Get you guys back up. See if I get used to how this thing works. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and clean out my bucket and re-immerse these in water and put them back on the sharpening bench. But that was a video, a little quick one. Thanks for coming around. Keep them flat. It's not, my experience has been, I don't think it's all everyone makes it out to be. First of all, you can't keep the stones in water. I think that's funny. Second of all, the stones don't need to be as flat as precision flat stones. If you're not familiar with precision flat stones used in machining, they are super, 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 super flat. These right now, I don't know if you can see that or not, but these are drying out and these are really, really flat. I don't know if you can get a good view along the side of that, but these are, you know, really super flat right now. Ringing together, no problem. If you wanted to take a flat surface and dust it across this to take the high spots off, that would be fine. I would not use these. These are not precision flat enough to use them for machine parts, like say my Starrett scribing gauge. Anything that's super lapped, flat part, these stones are not as flat as a precision flat stone and maintained like a precision flat stone, nor do they hold their surface like a precision flat stone, so they're not meant for that. But for woodworking, these are way, way, way good enough. I don't find it super, super critical unless you're one of those folks that, you know, has $1,000 Japanese chisels and you find joy in maintaining this magnificent angle bevel on there. They just don't need to be flat at the level of a precision flat stone. So don't get too anal about this. I do it every now and then. If I find it feels like it's cutting funny, you know, I've got my diamond plate right there on the bench. I just take the stone, I rub it across it a few times, go back to sharpening. Sharpening for me usually lasts, you know, unless I'm going in and sharpening half the shop because we're in the middle of a big project and we wiped everything out the night before. If I'm just sharpening a plane iron or a chisel, you know, it's usually a minute to 2 minutes tops, unless I, you know, threw it across the room and it hit on a nail in the wall or something. It's usually, and then it's getting ground and then it's getting sharpened. So if I'm not grinding it, it's taking, you know, a minute or two to sharpen something back to work. And that's how I prefer it. So hope you found this useful and get back to work. Thanks.